One of the biggest challenges in retirement planning is figuring out whether your money can truly support the life you want to live. Many people rely on the 4% rule as a guideline. And while the rules of thumb can be helpful as a starting point, they miss the complexity of real life. Retirement is personal. Your spending, your health, your family priorities, your travel goals, and your comfort with risk, those are unique to you. And that's why I believe there's a huge value in building a personal retirement financial model. So today, I will walk you through the process of creating your own retirement model from scratch. For me personally, this process completely changed my retirement. For years, I assumed I would probably retire at 62 because I was mentally anchored to traditional ages and the 4% rule. But once I built my own retirement model and started testing real scenarios using my actual spending information, I realized something amazing. I had far more flexibility than I thought. Armed with that information, I retired at 55. And that is the power of building a personal model. It moves retirement planning away from vague assumptions and into something much more personal, realistic, and actionable. Now, before we begin, I want to reassure you that this does not require you to be a financial wizard. If you are comfortable with basic software and gathering information, you can absolutely do this yourself. And even if you choose to work with an advisor, understanding the process will help you ask better questions and make more confident decisions. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Melody, and I retired last year from my career in tech. I created this channel to share information that I have discovered in my own retirement journey. Be aware, I'm not a financial professional, and this information is based on my own personal experiences. The first step to setting up your retirement model is deciding what software you want to use. There are several good options available today, including Bolden, my personal favorite for DIY, Projection Lab, and Fidelity Tools if you're a Fidelity customer. One important thing to remember is that you are not making a permanent decision. If you start with one platform and later decide that another one works better for you, you can switch. In fact, the second time around is usually much easier because you already understand your information and the planning process. So at this stage, do not get stuck searching endlessly for the perfect software. Choose something solid and begin. Once you have selected your software, begin entering your personal information. A simple approach is to start with standard assumptions first. I recommend that you put in the age you want to retire and use your full retirement age for Social Security. You can experiment with different ages later. The goal right now is not perfection. The goal is to build a working model that you can refine over time. Now it is time to gather your financial assets information. Start by adding all of your accounts and their tax types to the software. That includes traditional retirement accounts, Roth accounts, HSA accounts, and taxable brokerage accounts. You will also want to include current balances and any ongoing contributions. Next, think about your investment allocation in each account. Are your investments conservative, moderate, or aggressive? Do you expect your allocation to change in retirement? Then move on to income sources. This could include Social Security, pensions, deferred compensation, rental income, or future stock grants, or even part-time work. For Social Security, I recommend visiting ssa.gov and checking your estimated benefits directly. You should also add in real estate and any other major assets that could affect your retirement picture. This part of the process can take some time, but it is incredibly valuable because it gives you a clear understanding of where you stand financially. Now we move to the other side of the equation, your required monthly spending. This is the money needed to support your basic life. Estimate your core monthly living expenses, excluding any debts you may have. One common mistake people make is forgetting annual or irregular expenses. Things like insurance premiums, property taxes, memberships, and maintenance costs may not happen monthly, but they are still very real expenses. I encourage you to divide annual bills by 12 and include them in your monthly baseline spending amount. That creates a much more realistic picture. Some modeling software will have a detailed budgeting option and a separate option for any insurance costs. I personally do not use those. And the reason why is that I found it works best to have my expenses either in a spreadsheet or in a separate budgeting app. For those, I add up all the numbers and simply add one monthly living expenses number to the retirement modeling software. My reasoning for this is that I want to have a single source of truth for my monthly budget. If I have to track all of the individual line items in multiple places, then inevitably a mismatch will occur at some point, and it is a hassle to find and resolve it. Okay, now circling back to debts, after you have entered your baseline monthly amount, add in each of your debts, their payment information, and be sure to include the payoff date. If you have a mortgage with an escrow account, separate out the escrow amount and make sure that is included in your baseline spending amount. The next step is thinking about larger one-time expenses that are necessary rather than optional. Examples might include replacing vehicles, major home maintenance, or other predictable large costs. Retirement plans can fail because people underestimate these irregular but inevitable expenses. Roofs wear out, cars need replacing, appliances eventually fail. By including these costs in your model, you are building a much more realistic retirement plan. If you are planning to retire before age 65, healthcare is an important part of your plan that must be addressed separately. This is an area where many people avoid looking closely because it feels overwhelming. But the good news is that there are more options available than many people realize. The first step is simply understanding what options may be available to you. Now keep in mind that the information I'm sharing here is specific to the United States. One common option is COBRA coverage. COBRA allows you to temporarily continue with your existing coverage from your employer. Typically, COBRA can be used for 18 months. The downside is that it can be very expensive because you are paying the full premium yourself, including the portion your employer previously covered. For some people, COBRA works well as a short-term bridge, especially if they're retiring late in the year or already close to Medicare eligibility. Another major option for coverage is through the Affordable Care Act, often called the ACA or Obamacare. Depending on your taxable income in retirement, the ACA subsidies can dramatically reduce your monthly insurance costs. You can estimate this on healthcare.gov or on your state-specific ACA Marketplace site. Keep in mind that you can achieve a specific taxable income amount by combining withdrawals from your traditional retirement accounts and your brokerage or superhero accounts, or even your Roth accounts. If you can keep your MAGI under 400% of the federal poverty level, then you should qualify for a subsidy. You may also want to investigate retiree health care offered by a former employee, coverage through a spouse's employer plan, health sharing ministries, or part-time work that offers benefits. As you build your model, try to estimate both your monthly insurance premiums and your expected out-of-pocket costs. And don't forget dental and vision as well. This does not need to be perfect. The goal is to create a reasonable estimate and understand the range of possibilities. Beyond age 65, retirement modeling software will typically include estimations based on what Medicare plan you choose. For that, simply choose the option that makes the most sense to you now. You can adjust this later if you need to. At this point, I recommend that you pause and check your model before adding additional lifestyle upgrades and optional spending. Run the Monte Carlo analysis and see where you stand. Do you already have a strong foundation? Are there areas that need adjustment? This early checkpoint is super important because it helps separate essential retirement security from optional lifestyle goals. Once you understand your baseline financial picture, you can begin building the retirement lifestyle you truly want. After you have completed that check, you can start adding quality of life improvements. This could include home renovations, helping family members, funding education, paying for weddings, or purchasing a travel trailer or vacation property. These are often the things that make retirement feel meaningful and joyful, but they also need to fit within the reality of your financial plan. Adding them separately allows you to experiment and make intentional trade-offs rather than accidentally overspending. Next, add in additional extras with a predictable monthly or annual cost. Maybe you want to travel more, or maybe you want to take classes or have a generous budget for your hobbies, or pay for services like house cleaning or lawn care that make your life easier. I think it's important to recognize that spending in retirement can change over time. Many people spend more actively in the early years of retirement while they are healthier and more energetic. Because of that, I recommend time-bounding some of these expenses. For example, you might plan for more travel spending between ages 60 and 75, and then reduce it or eliminate it as you get older. This creates a more realistic and flexible retirement model. One of the most powerful parts of building your own model is the ability to experiment. What happens if you retire 1 year earlier? What happens if you work part-time for a while? How much difference does an additional year of working and saving make? These are not just financial questions. These are life questions. Your model allows you to explore possibilities safely before making major decisions. Finally, begin testing different claiming ages for Social Security and pensions. For some people, delaying Social Security can significantly improve long-term security. For others, claiming earlier may be better for their overall goals. There is no universal answer. The right decision depends on your health, family history, marital status, and other income sources, and also personal priorities. This is where a personal financial model becomes so valuable. Instead of guessing, you can evaluate how different strategies and different spending affect your long-term plan. The one important expense that I have not mentioned so far is taxes. That is because retirement modeling software is tax aware. It will take care of the heavy lifting for you, so you don't have to worry about it. You may wish to experiment with Roth conversions in the software, but that's not as important in this initial setup phase as the other steps. Building a retirement financial model may sound intimidating at first, but in many ways it is simply the process of understanding your own life more clearly. And once you have the basic information set up in your retirement model, you can experiment with different scenarios. I hope this video encourages you to start building your own model and exploring what is truly possible for your future. Thanks for being here. And if you'd like to continue this conversation, I recommend that you watch this video on overall retirement planning framework. A retirement financial model is one piece of the overall framework, and it's good to consider the other aspects of retirement as well. Have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.